Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Art Garage. This is our first Zoom at noon program, and it is at noon because in Kenya, it is nighttime. So it is really exciting to have Adam and the group in Kenya on board, and also to have our small webinar group here. I am standing in what we call the middle bay at the Art Garage, which is a three-sided gallery. And right now we have been exhibiting enormous honor and pride, Adam Masava's solo exhibition direct from Nairobi. The David, I think, is going to upload a small slideshow so that you can get a sense of the show and some of the work in it. And after that, we will go to the next part of the program. And I particularly want to thank Adam for making himself available, and David Auerbach, and Anne, and Penina, Jugana, and thank you so much for all pitching in. It takes a village, it takes a family. Thank you.
Great.
David, we can start and thank you, David, for introducing Adam and me to each other, because we have corresponded for a couple of years, and then it seemed the perfect show to culminate our four exhibition series, High Alert Artists Speak Out, on issues of social and or environmental justice. And I feel that Adam's show sort of ends this on a high and aspirational note, even though he draws attention to injustices that should be addressed. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
This is the flyer that has been all around the region advertising Adam Masava's show, designed by the great designer Katie Homans in New York City. Next. And this is a panorama, so it's a little bit exaggerated, but here you can see the various panels that put together the exhibition. Next. It opened on a day in September, and we had a lot of community people come and go during that period. And I think you even see one of them who is on this call today. Next. Oh, and including, might I add, Carrie, who is here from Kenya. In the right-hand slide, we see a woman who lived in Kenya, as well as Carrie, who represented the country, and Adam. And so we had a really interesting group of people who came from fairly far away. This is an example of some of the works of the show. They are all on the smaller side, partly because they arrived via in a suitcase, which is how the great Ghanaian artist El Anatsui used to send his art as well. It needs to be easy to transport. And I commend you also that nothing is very breakable, Adam. These are some beautiful pieces that illustrate the hardworking people in Adam's community. And Adam, of course, will be discussing everything later on and save your questions. Next. These are two of the showstoppers, which you probably can see behind me. Yeah. So this piece, which is Stellar and Dennis Derrick, before the program started, was talking about why he liked it so much, and the importance of so many people working together. It is in many ways what I think Adam would say as an early version of a finished product, because it shows the varnish before he applies color. Next, please. Whereas in the, these are other examples of it. And I found these sort of sepia toned underpaintings very compelling. And you see the rawness of gesture and form in quite an extraordinary way. Next, please. But they are intended, of course, to ultimately be colored and have this wonderful palette of bright colors that I like. And I also am so drawn to the crinkled aspect of the corrugated metal, which I hope Adam will later describe how he works with the material. Next, please. And here we see Adam in the center, and this may be an older photograph, but my nephew, David Auerbach, who has made this all possible, is in the lower left, and Adam is at the headquarters of Sanergy there in Nairobi, in Mukuru. So it's great to see you there. And next, and here we have Adam with a very interesting drawing that again to me is showing the corrugated material that is so ubiquitous in your community. So Adam, I so look forward to hearing you tell your story and talk about your art. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're most welcome. I'm also looking forward to this meeting. I've been like, I think I dreamt about it last night.
I hope it wasn't a nightmare.
No, it wasn't. It was good, but it woke me up, you know, out of excitement.
Well, great. Well, Adam, maybe it would be great for the audience. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with everyone today. It means a lot to us to be able to hear from the artist himself. And I know one thing that I think would just be great to hear a little bit about your path, that has brought you, that has made you to the artist you are today. And really, I think sharing like what inspires you, or what you're trying to convey, most importantly, through the art that you undertake.
Thank you so much, David. This all has happened because of you. So I'm really grateful to have met you and the connection. So, and I thank all the panelists on this live Zoom meeting. Basically, what inspires me is the fact that I grew up in a slum. And when we were growing up in the slum, it wasn't easy. Life was really challenging. It had a lot of challenges, but I'm grateful that I've become a professional artist right now. And I'm really happy that I'm enjoying some international recognition right now as an artist. So my primary thing is to educate people about slum life, showcase the positive side of slum life, because slums are stereotyped. In the US, you have similar things like the slum, but in a different context, which you call ghetto. And they are all stereotyped because of the bad things that happen. And it's so unfortunate that the media or people that have ability to showcase things, they only showcase the negative side of it. So for me as an artist, I take it as my responsibility to showcase or show people and educate people about the positivity of slum life. Like, for example, I like how Sid has just described my work, like it shows people working hard. That's one aspect that helps our community, our country as Kenya, to be stable economically. Because if these people don't do what they do, our economy would collapse, because you see, they go to work, they supply things, they do all these sort of things, and that helps our economy to be stable. And that's one aspect that should be viewed positively. And also, the slum is beautiful. For me, I say that proudly because I know it's beautiful, because you can imagine even the roofs of the slum, when you look at them, they look like an old-fashioned abstract artist was painting on each one of them. And they have character, they have really good colors like golden, bronze, silver, and all these colors when the iron is getting old. So all these things, like, people don't show them. And also another thing is, when the iron is getting old, people tend to paint the houses so that they attract tenants. So this is another aspect that shows beauty in the slum. Yeah.
Yes, and we could see some of that beautiful in the portrait of you. There was so much color on the buildings that surrounded you, which I think was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. Cool. And Adam, maybe it'd be fun just for people to hear your sort of progression as an international showing artist. You know, I know there's some fun stories about sort of your early days,
Yeah.
decisions you made to, you know, actually really carve a path about, you know, carve a path around what, you know, how I would frame it as like depicting like the life in informal settlements as a, you know, as not, you know, as a place of optimism too. But I know that you had lots of opportunities to do lots of different things. And so it would be great for people to hear about that a little bit.
David, could you, there was some background noise. I didn't get your question, please.
Oh,
Can
sorry,
you
sorry, just share a little bit about your career, sort of how you progressed to becoming an international artist, because I think it's a really interesting story for people to hear, and there's some fun. I know there were some forks in the road that you very, very, very consciously chose in order to become who you've become now.
So first of all, I remember when I was a kid in primary school, I used to win a lot of presents, but my primary attraction wasn't art, it was football, because my family is a footballing family. My two brothers have played football. For my younger brother has played in Europe, and also for the Kenya national team. He's quite famous here in Kenya and Europe. And then the younger one has played for the under-17 and under-20 respectively, the Kenya national team. So my primary attraction wasn't art. I got a very bad injury when I was a kid. I broke my ankle, and the recuperation or the healing process was so painful. So I said I don't want to play football again because I didn't want to go through that again. So I started doing art slowly. So it was a funny story for me to really get into the school art club. When I was in school, the teachers were very, very harsh and hard on us. Like the corporal punishment was significant in those days. So I remember one day I was, the art and craft teacher was teaching us, and I was busy sketching him. So I got drawn into the drawing, and then I didn't realize that he was walking around checking what we were doing. So he was standing beside me, just right behind me, looking at what I was doing. And then he kind of liked the drawing. I didn't know. So he told me, young man, see me after the class in my office. So normally when the teachers ask you to go to the office, it means a beating. So I was really scared when I went there, and he told me to bring the book with me. So I showed the book. He took the book and showed to the other teachers and said, look at how gifted this young man is. He gave me a seat and gave me some tea. Then he told me to join the art club. So I went to the art club, and then I started winning a lot of presents. And one of the most significant thing for me to see that I had to start believing that I'm talented was our school used to be given free food by the World Food Program and the USAID. So the USAID used to supply us with tins of cooking oil, and then World Food Program used to give us maize corn and beans. So that was our lunch. So there was a competition that was sponsored by the World Food Program in all the schools that benefit from the World Food Program. And they wanted us to draw or paint something that is so significant for the World Food Program. So I painted a huge truck carrying some maize bags of food. And I was surprised one morning in the assembly. My name was mentioned, and they said I've won the African continent. So my art piece was sent to the world contest. Then after maybe a month, they came again and said that our school won. I mean, I won the world contest. So our school got a lot of food stuff, and I was given some paint, some watercolor paint, which was a huge deal in those days. And so I started believing in myself, and then I won a lot of presents. After school, I joined a place where it was a project that was developing the slum through Sisters of Mercy, that an Irish nun, very famous Irish nun known as Sister Mary Clean, runs the project. So in this project, I acquired quite some skills because they gave us paint and everything. Then I started painting, and in 2006, my younger brother was invited for a football trial in Czech Republic. So he went there, and after 2 weeks, he had completely amazed the club and they signed him. So when he came back to renew or to get his long-term visa and work permit, I painted a small card to say thank you to the team and the president for signing him. So when he gave that card to the president, he was so amazed by the card and said, when my brother even mentioned that it was me who did it and painted it, he was like, no. So he immediately called me and said like, he is really happy that I painted that. He framed it and kept it for himself. And then he said, I really want to invite you to Czech Republic to come for an exhibition. So after 1 year, after 2 years, that was in 2008, the club invited me to go and do an exhibition there, which was a huge success. That day of the opening of the exhibition, they had a home match, and my brother played very well. He scored 2 goals and assisted 2 goals. And on the screens around the stadium, my name, I could read my name, but the rest was written in Czech, so I didn't understand. But they were inviting the fans to come to my exhibition. So within an hour of the opening of the exhibition, I had sold all of my, I think I had like 60 pieces, and they were all sold out. I got a lot of commission from the fans, like, can you do something similar like this and that and that? So after 2 weeks, I had done the commissions. I was really tired and I wanted like to enjoy Europe and see things. So I said, no, I'm not doing anymore. And so since from that, I came back and started like believing in art and doing a lot of art. And I thank God that right now, my work is being shown around the world. Just a few days ago, I was in Tanzania. I was invited for the East African Biennale, where I've already sold a couple of pieces, and the rest, some people are really interested in. And I've traveled around Europe. I've done a Europe tour, literally. I've shown my work in Germany, in Austria, in Czech Republic, in Slovakia, in Hungary, in Netherlands, and many more countries. I've also shown my work in Asia. And right now, I'm really happy that I'm enjoying some showing in the US. And thanks to you guys, thanks to David. Right now, I think my future is looking really bright, and I'm basically becoming an inspiration to so many young artists around Kenya and Africa, because they follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, and they follow my steps basically and see what I'm doing, and they're really inspired.
That's really great. And please, it is not, my job is only, I connect the dots. It is your work that speaks for itself. Like, that's all I do. So great. Cool. So what we'd like to do now, first of all, I mean, so I think Penina and I are going to offer a couple of thoughts of it that we have on your work, but then we really, this is really not for us and not for Adam, but for the audience. And so if there's questions that you have, please do think of them. And then the easiest thing to do is actually put your you can put your hand up, I think. But anyway, if not, we're a small enough group. We can just ask if there's questions out there.
Yeah, you can do raise hand. Go to reactions and raise hand.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Sid. There you go. So yeah, so maybe I'll go first. So just so you all know, so I met Adam about, I guess, 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. My work involves working in the same communities where Adam works or is from, called Mukuru. My work is all about how to provide safe sanitation for residents living in informal settlements, and got introduced to Adam because I heard about this thing called the Mukuru Art Club. And this is an NGO that Adam has set up, providing free art lessons to anybody, any child in the community, in the informal settlements. And this is a really big deal. When you think about sort of exposure and ideas, this is the opportunity to learn about and appreciate art and learn how to do art, as it were, or make art, is really, really, really important. I always, it might sound crazy, but Bill Gates got his start because he was near a university that had one of the first computers, and he got to go as a there and get that exposure, and from that, companies like Microsoft were built on the business side. And you can see the same types of ideas that happen when people have exposure, exposure to art too. And I got to meet Adam, and obviously it was just incredible to see his art, and it really resonated with me because it reflected the communities that we were trying to serve. It is so easy to look at informal settlements and be like, these are places that are, as Adam mentioned, full of risk, or full of pollution and such. And yet everybody you meet there is trying to make things work, and also has a strong sense of community too. In Adam's art, you just see that so much. And I really appreciate sort of how almost like in sort of an impressionist way that he that it simplifies what it's like in these communities by showing the intricate architecture of the community, and not going into too much depth of is there is there all the things that people that make it difficult, and instead make that the backdrop for a lot of life. And you see that, right? Because then you see the guys on bicycles, you see people having conversations, you see kids playing sports, and all of these things that really, I think, help show the normalcy and energy of these communities too. And it really struck with us because as with me, because as the company that we run, what we're really trying to do is just make it so that people have, better, normal lives too. And one of my favorite stories though on this is that when I did meet Adam, he's like, "Oh, I painted your toilets all the time." And sure enough, he came to our, he came and gave us a talk to our staff, to about 100 people. And he brought, all of these paintings where he had actually included our toilets too. And, it was just so flattering too, that he considered it worthy of being part of the architecture of the uplifting community that he's trying to show. And and our team I loved it, our team loved it too. And so that's something I just really have appreciated. I guess, Adam, a question for you. How do you, it's easy for people to also for you to maybe draw sympathy, about the difficult conditions that people are living in there in your art, and yet you actively reject that, and you say, you know, we don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Can you talk us like a little bit through sort of how, you know, your thought process in the art that you're producing?
Well, David, thank you so much for that question. And also, thank you for the work that you're doing for Mukuru. It's really important because I remember when we were kids, we used to use flying toilets, which was a nightmare. And thanks to you and your work, that has gone completely. The slum is clean. People can enjoy clean environment. Thank you so much for that.
Just a flying toilet is using a plastic bag. It's the way they talk about it. Just so everyone understands.
Let me tell them a funny story. Before, when we were kids, we used to do that at around 7:30. And I remember one day I was sent to the shop, and this flying toilet fell on my head. And you can imagine what what happened. So thanks to you, they don't exist. So basically, I don't like to draw sympathy into my work, because I believe people living in slums are hardworking. They are so passionate. They are very honest people. And basically, so I try to show how a community it is, how basically people are connected together, how kids even, how, for example, a family from a middle class setting, if their toy doesn't work, they can like throw it away, and kids from the slums turn it into a beautiful toy and just share it. So these things try to bridge the gap of stereotyping. And basically, I use colors. You know, Africa is made out of colors. So I use really bright colors to showcase that, because also the iron that acts as my backdrop, which tells the story, because I collect this iron from the slum, basically goes well, or I say contrasts quite well with the colors, bright colors that I use.
Cool, great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Welcome.
Cool. So now I'm going to invite Penina, Penina Juguna, my wife, just for full disclosure, but also a big fan of your work, to share a couple thoughts, as well as maybe a question that she has too.
Hi, everyone.
Whoops. Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Hi, Adam. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hi.
So I just have a quick comment and a question. I think what really draws me to your art is the wonderful textures you use and how you include them in the composition. And I was wondering if you can talk more about, like, were you experimenting one day and then you found like this corrugated iron is a good base, or like how did you first start using this?
Thank you so much, Penina, for that question, because really not so many people ask it. So basically, there was a day I had invited some kids in my studio to come and learn from me. And I had some cardboards because I was shipping some pieces. And one of the kids was playing with the cardboards. And then I was trying to finish a painting. And the kid had peeled a cardboard. And then, you know, when you peel it, it has the corrugated stuff. So after finishing playing with it, I think the kid threw it on the ground. I picked it up and had a look at it. So I thought, wow, this is like exactly like the corrugated iron. So the painting I was doing, it had some, like a bird's eye view of the slum. And I cut like some of the cardboard and stuck. I stuck exactly the way I'd done the sketch on the roofs, and it popped like really well. So I finished it all. And this painting was sent to Sweden for an exhibition, and it became a professional superstar, I should say. and I had a lot of commissions. People asked for more. So I started developing that style of using cardboards to depict the corrugated iron and painting the rust and stuff. Then one day, there was a huge fire in the slum. People lost their property. People were devastated by that accident, which happens quite a lot of times. So I went there to help one of my friends rebuild their house. So as we were doing that, I took a small piece of charcoal because he went to buy some nails. He had run out of nails, so we were waiting for him to go. And because the part that was burnt was quite big, so I was sitting there waiting for him. Then I got bored. So I took a piece of charcoal that from the leftovers of the fire. Then I took a piece of iron and started sketching something. So as I was sketching, I drew a crowd that came and started looking and said, wow, that is really nice, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, I took that piece to the studio, but then after a while, it started fading. Then I thought like, this could be because there was a client who came to look at my work and say, this can be a really nice thing if you can make sure that everything sticks. So I started doing some experiment and research on the internet about how to use iron. So I didn't find a lot of useful information. So I just turned myself into an artist stroke scientist. So I started peeing in bottles, collecting my own urine and storing it. So I went over to the slum, bought the iron, burned it in a big fire. Then I threw the urine on it. You know, urine is acidic. So it started making the iron to start rusting quickly. Then I realized that the urine, because of so much acid, it used to eat the whole iron. And because the iron was so weak from the fire, so most of it was being eaten quickly and like perishes. So I realized if I use water would act as a moderator for the urine. Then one day I did like a small hole on the bottle of the, on the bottle top. And you know, when I started collecting the urine, my friends were also peeing in those bottles and saying they are helping me, my studio mates. So one day, as I was trying to puncture the bottle top, some urine spilled on my face. And then I was like, this is, sorry. There could be, maybe it's not completely mine. So I said, no, I don't want to be using urine. So I went over and started buying battery acid, which I was sprinkling on the iron and using water and salt to make the iron rust quickly. Then I started like using shellac to treat the iron. But after a while, I realized that shellac isn't strong enough to protect the iron. Because, you know, I use acrylic colors and acrylics contain water. So I basically, rusting process would continue because of the moisture that paint has. So that I was experimenting and realized that shellac wasn't the best medium. So I started using clear varnish, and clear varnish protects them quite well. And since then, I'm flying.
Great.
Yeah.
Go mute. Cool. Thank you, Adam. That's a great story. Varnish over urine, but I can see where your toilet roots come from. That's the other place.
Yeah.
Great. So we have a few minutes for questions, and I wonder if anyone in the audience has something they'd like to ask.
I do. I'm Ann Waller Auerbach, sister of Sydney and mother of David and proud mother-in-law of Penina. one of the things that I was struck when you were explaining the corrugation is that almost metaphorically, it's like what you were trying to portray in terms of the energy of the slum, in that if it was a flat background, it's just a flat background, whereas all that motion that's part of the corrugation and part of all of the process really captures that positive energy that you're talking about. So I just wanted, it just seemed to me that was really like symbolic of the overall. The background is as powerful, and it's the background. I mean, it's using the things that are just there. And I just, I guess it's more of a comment than a question, but I just thought I would put that out there, because it really does because your work, and I'm the proud owner of the 3 girls that you painted, which I'm thrilled about, because, but part of the energy of the painting is that background that is not smooth and, and neat and all that sort of thing. So I wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that the color, ever since I spent a year in Kenya back in 2010, and color is just, for me, is the defining memory of Kenya. So that those three girls in uniform with their plaited hair and their bright colored socks, and anything that they could do to bring color to their lives is really just is so meaningful. And I just wanted to tell you that. That's all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your comment, and nice to meet you, Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thanks, Mom. She's coming to visit soon, Adam, so we'll be able to meet in person. So that's great.
Cool. Please, when you make a schedule, please make sure she comes to the studio. She'll be a story. Cool.
Great. Are there any other questions? Please feel free to come off mute.
So this is Francesca. Can you hear me?
Very well.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So thank you everyone for organizing this, and Adam, especially thank you for your beautiful art. And my husband Thad and I have purchased the painting of the little boy and the suitcase that you did from the balcony. And we're so absolutely thrilled to have this piece of art that's going to come to our home soon. We're very emotional about it, the beauty of it, and also the emotionality of it. You have a little boy, we can't see his face, we just see him walking. And how you managed to do that is so extraordinary and beautiful. And we really appreciate it. And I'm so glad that I can actually be here to say hello to you in person over Zoom. So thank you very much. I'm a cellist, and my husband Thad is a percussionist, and we've traveled all over the world. We have not been to Kenya yet, but we're sort of in a place in our careers that when all of this COVID stuff is over, we'll be traveling more, and but not for music, just for fun. And so hopefully one day we'll get to come to your studio. Look forward to hearing more about your work in the future.
I'm really happy that you and your husband piece. Thank you so much, and welcome to Kenya. And please pass by my studio.
Yes.
You will see some of my work and my student and other artists' work in the Mukuru Art Collective studios.
Thank you. We'll look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm also really excited to be here today, and thank you, Sydney, for doing this Zoom meeting. This is great for me because I work and I can't go to a lot of your get-togethers. But I also I have a question. I was wondering, I noticed that there's a great many I noticed that in some of the photos, in some of the paintings that you did, there are always containers in a lot of them, and there was also a lot of bicycles. So I just was curious to hear more about that, and to know if there might be any particular reason that you could give for that.
Okay, thanks for the question. That's really nice. Basically, when you look at the setting here in Nairobi, bicycles are instrument of work. A lot of men or fathers feed their families through bicycle. They work very hard on the bicycles. You'll find them carrying loads of stuff. For example, the bread delivery guys, they wake up very early in the morning. They go to the bakery, collect the bread, then they distribute it to the small shops in the slum, because most of the slum houses are built so close to each other, so cars cannot maneuver in, but bicycles can do that easily. And these guys, this is like I know a lot of people who kind of do this type of work. So that's why I paint them, and I call them the unsung heroes, because they make sure that kids and families go to work with some breakfast. So their efforts should be celebrated in a way. So that's why I call them the unsung heroes. And then about the containers, you'll find also around Nairobi, there's a lot of cylinders and stuff like that. That's what I see around me. So you see, people start small. They carry the stuff on their shoulders, on their head. Then they save money. After that, they buy a bicycle, a handcart, or a wheelbarrow to help them carry more stuff. So that's how they get to the steps. And some of them even buy small pickup trucks to do that once they get a good number of customers or clients to be supplying the stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have a question from one of your collectors who unfortunately could not be here. And he was curious about whether you use photographs and how do you achieve the perspective that you have. And yeah.
Okay. In some instances, I use photographs to depict some of the works, but home, go to the studio. When I grew up seeing all these type of things, so some of them are memories that I try to sketch and try them on the canvas or on the iron. By the way, the name of iron, you can hashtag it on Facebook or Instagram. The name of iron in Swahili is called mabati. That is M-A-B-A-T-I. So here in Kenya, they call me Mabati artist. So basically, that's how I do it.
Nice. So, and I have another question, which is when I was in Kenya, there was a lot of, I'm going to call it, is it tourist art? And you may have called it that too. And you have just found your own voice and going in a very different direction. Did you go through a period when you were doing more conventional tourist art? Because you have such a unique vocabulary.
Thank you. Yeah, I think many artists here in Kenya go through that process because, you know, Kenya is one of the most visited country by tourists. Yeah. So whenever, excuse me, whenever artists are starting, they normally go that way. So when I was in this project I told you about, the Mukuru Youth Arts and Craft, which was run by Sisters of Mercy, we used to paint a lot of touristic stuff because it's easy to sell and it's easy also to make. But I'm happy that I've come out of that and I found my own voice. I found my own subjects, which are giving me good recognition across the world.
Thank you.
You're
And do you
welcome.
also do commissions for like the Swedish embassy and other, how did you make those connections?
Basically, for me, this is something that I also tell my students back in the studio, like you should be always in touch with your clients, mainly because if your work is good, people will always ask, who did this? And if you don't have, if the client doesn't have your contact, because basically artists, whenever they sell their work, that's it. But for me, I always try to stay in touch, either on WhatsApp, email, or Facebook or Instagram, because I believe anytime a client gets somebody who is interested, they will refer them back to you, and you will make some sales. So I met a Swedish guy who used to work here in Kenya. He organized a show at his residence and invited the Swedish ambassador. And the Swedish ambassador was very impressed. So he collected some of my work and gave me some commissions, which he put in his office at the embassy. And also, I've done some commissions for the International School of Kenya here in Nairobi. And I've done other commissions at the David's office. When invited me to have a talk, I brought in some of my work to celebrate what they do, because what they do is really special and makes a lot of huge significant change in the community and Mukuru slum as a whole. So I am happy that some organizations, companies, and big entities are collecting my work. Even banks and other people are collecting my work and putting them in their offices.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Adam, this is Rob Heiss, a very good friend of Ann Auerbach's. And I was just wondering, are you currently on a tour, or are you in this country right now, or where are you?
I'm actually at home right now. If you can hear some background noise, my daughter is playing. But I think I'm planning a tour next year. Hopefully, I'm planning to come to America, and I'm really happy that this exhibition at the Art Garage has gone really well. I wanted to talk to Sid and see if she can do another exhibition next year in spring, a physical one that I'll be present and meet some of the collectors and some of the art lovers in Cooperstown. So, Sid, there's some homework for you. I'll give you yes. Some dates of my tour, and then we'll see which one suits you well. And then I'll select the best works for Cooperstown, because I've seen a huge appreciation from you guys, and I'm really happy that you guys have loved my work. Thank you, because I wasn't sure if my work will connect with the New York community.
I would, Rob and I know each other through our church in Brookline, and so possibly you might be able to find a place to exhibit here in Boston also. So that might be a possibility.
Thank you. You know, Kenyans, we are good runners. We have a tribe that is really talented in running, and they all Boston Marathon. Yeah, so it's one of my dream to visit Boston and do a show. So maybe after this, you can have my email, but then we can talk about it and plan it. That would be absolutely a dream come true. Thank you for suggesting that.
Yes, great. May it happen.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I want to be mindful of time.
Yes.
Thanks for all of the questions. I thought we would just have sort of a chance for maybe Adam to give a final word, and then Sid to give a final word. And yeah, so turn it over to you, Adam.
Thank you, David.
I think I found you a new commission tonight, so I'll text you about that though, from an event I was at.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I always appreciate your commissions, and Actually, guys, I'm launching a YouTube channel very soon. I think this Friday. Friday is tomorrow, yeah. Tomorrow I'm launching my first YouTube video whereby I'll be showcasing the positive side of slum life, painting from A to Z, and also celebrating some local guys from the slum who have achieved a few things. And David, I'm really eager to do one piece for you and your company. It's a surprise. I'll do it and then I'll post it. Then you will see. And so my
Not a
parting
surprise
shot
anymore.
I think it will be. Yeah, it's not a surprise. I've blown it up. But yeah, thank you so much for the show. I'm really pleased that I've done an exhibition in New York. Thank you, David, for the connection. Thank you, Sid, for all the hard work and your team. The show has been really successful. You can't imagine how respected I am right now here in Kenya, because the the 2 flyers you did, I shared them, and a lot of people saw them. They congratulated me. So that's a milestone under my belt. Thank you so much for everyone that has supported by buying and visiting the exhibition. It means a lot to me, and I'm looking forward to possibly meeting you all next year if all goes well. And we will do a YouTube video together of opening of one of my exhibition at the Art Garage. Thank you so much. God bless you.
There you go. Well, thank you, Adam. I mean, it is such a joy to be able to connect in real time, which is impossible to wrap one's head around because, of course, it's night where you are. But thank you for making.
It's not too late. It's just 2 minutes to 9, so it's okay.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
here we're calling it noon in Zoom. So yeah, we really look forward to continuing to work with you. And I have reached out to a museum near here in the city of Utica and some other possibilities, because I think your message, well, first of all, your work is so powerful and the message is so powerful and uplifting and not unflinching, if you will.
Yeah.
And so it's such a joy. And thank you, David and Anne and Panina. And earlier, thanks to Dennis, who had a private conversation with you, who couldn't be here, who was talking about his Trinidadian background and how important the bicycle had been, and how, in a sense, you continue to carry certain weight that we referenced earlier. Thank you, all of you, for participating. And
one last thing, please.
Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you short. You see, I work with some young artists that some of them I'm teaching and some of them are just artists that come to the space to work. And they have really good work. I'm thinking maybe next year around this time, if it's possible, we can do an art exhibition at your gallery to showcase their work to the New York audience. If this can be possible, it would mean a lot to them, and I'm sure most of them would start like their international career through you. So this is something to think about. If it's possible, I would really appreciate that so much.
It sounds phenomenal.
I've asked everybody, I've asked everybody to unmute themselves to say thank you and goodbye or whatever. So thank you, Adam.
Adam, this was wonderful.
Adam and everybody.
Wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam and the Auerbachs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
See you in the United States next year.
Yeah.
There you go.
Please go. Yeah.
Roads lead to Cooperstown.
Yep, absolutely. Adam is coming.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Ken.